Hey, boys and girls, it's Miss Bone here. And today you guys are doing a fun lesson. Let me tell you, personally, I love making graphs. It is so much fun. Get some drawing in there, you get some organizing in there, a lot of fun stuff when you're doing graphs. So today you're on a lesson where you're going to make a graph, a bar graph. And I just want to guide you through some really important things about graphing. Something that's really important about graphing is your organization. I'm wondering if we all know what organization is. I don't think I knew what organization was in third grade. Organization is the way you place things on the page need to be really clear and easy to understand. Like sometimes when we do math, we have numbers all over the page and things are crossed out and we're like, oh, we made a mistake, let me try again. That's not very organized. It's okay, but when we do a graph, it's okay, but we don't want all of our math to be all over the place like that, right? Especially when we do a graph. We especially want the person who's reading our graph to make sure that the information is clear and clear on the page and easy for them to understand. So that's what we mean when we organize. So you have all these cool little manipulatives to move around today. You want to make sure you put all your people down here in order. Now let me show you what's not going to work. So let's say you put Ben here, and then we've got Rachel the next. What information are we using today? We are going to be graphing magazines that these kids sold. So let me show you what we don't want to do. Look what happens if I put Ben right next to Rachel. And then let's say I use red for Ben, and then I use blue for Rachel, and I start coming over here and I'm showing my squares to make my bar graph. That's not very organized. We got Ben and Rachel right next to each other. I'm not sure. The blue square kind of looks like it's halfway over in Ben and a little bit over in Rachel. I don't know. The red and blue, we're trying to figure all that out. I don't know. It's not very organized. So make sure when you do your graph today that you are really careful about your organization. Because what ends up happening when you make a graph and it's not organized, all the bars or pictures or whatever kind of graph you're making start to run together. And then at the end, you're like, I don't know how to read this graph. I don't know how to read this data. So let's make sure that we're going to take Ben, and then we're going to take Rachel, and we're going to make sure that Rachel is a little bit a ways from Ben. That way, when we start to put Rachel's data on our bar graph, it's really clear that the blue bar is going to represent Rachel's magazine sold, and the red bar is going to represent Ben's magazine sold. It's really clear. So let's go get good old Jeff next. He's next on the table up there. Let's go get him. Ooh, I'm moving the whole thing around. Be careful, boys and girls. Make sure you've got only the name selected there. There we go. Now we got Jeff over here. Again, we want to keep Jeff the same distance away from Rachel. So when we start plotting Jeff's magazine sold, it's really clear that the purple bar is gonna represent Jeff. Now there's another thing I want to talk about when we organize. When we organize, if you notice, Rachel's magazine sold is 250 magazines. When I look at my numbers over here, I don't know about you boys and girls, but do you see 250? I don't see 250 on my graph. I see 100, I see 200, I see 300, I see 400, I see 500, 600, 700. We could keep going. I don't see 250, but I know how smart you guys are. And I know that you know that 250 is right in between. right smack dab in the middle of. Think about when you learned how to round and estimate, and you were always thinking about that number that was right in the middle of the 200s. So what number, 250, goes between what 200s? I knew it. I knew you knew it. 250 is right in between 200 and 300. It's right in the middle. So let me show you what you don't want to do when you've got those numbers that are right in the middle. Let's go get Rachel's bars or her squares and start building. So we've got 2 squares here, which gets her graph around 200. But watch this. If I go get another square and I put it right on top of that square, it kind of looks like she sold 300 magazines. She did not sell 300 magazines. She only sold 250. So when you get to Stanley today, because he's the other guy who's right in the middle, he's at 450. What I want you to do with this square is bring it down just a little bit. There we go. So really what's showing is only half of my square. And let's annotate really quick and draw that line that makes sure that our data is really organized. Well, let's get to draw. There we go. 250 is right in the middle. If I go across, my bars fall right around 250. Now keep in mind, remember what I just showed you. If you would have put that bar right on top, put that box right on top of the other box, like we were originally going to do and like we've been practicing. Remember, we had it right on top. Now let's annotate. And actually, if we put it right on top there, it doesn't land at 250. It lands more at 300. So make sure when you're landing in the middle, your bar is matching up to the middle in between those 200s. I know you guys are going to have so much fun with this today. Bar graphs are so fun. Good luck, boys and girls.